Now here to talk to us about data, a world of opportunity, please welcome Traction on Demand's Dave Jenkins.
Hello, Joe. Well, hi everyone, it's great to be here. And I got to say, when I was asked to come and talk about data at TractionForce, it's like when I started my career 20 years ago, it was like you'd talk about data in a dark, dingy basement, and that would be the opportunity you'd get. Now here I am, talking in a dark, dingy concert hall, I guess, so it's still pretty exciting. What I want to talk about first is, in the information evolution, what we're talking about with data is it's the underpinning of all companies that are trying to be technology companies, so we have to take advantage of it. And really, if you look at the evolution of our ability to listen, it's just growing exponentially. So we started way back when with purchases. We had great information on customer behavior, and we could take advantage of it. That is still a great predictor and way to understand your customers and understand how your business is doing. But as we moved on about 10, 15 years ago, the internet was really starting to take off, and we got this ability to look at a microcosm of the world and see deep, detailed information about customers, how they were behaving online and how we could take advantage of it. And the beauty of that is it's given us the ability to build out a bunch of engines and predictive tools that can now be applied in the broader world. Things like predictive recommendations to recommend products that people are interested in, things like micro-targeting to come up with the right way to present the right information to people. And as we've moved into the mobile world, behaviors that were once online are becoming more ubiquitous, and we can look at consumer behavior in the physical world. So we get a lot of clients coming to us now looking to set up clienteling in stores or in physical locations for non-retail stores, where you can learn about high-value customers as they walk in the door and take advantage of that and talk to them appropriately, or you can recommend things to customers based on what they've been doing in their online behavior. So that is such a rich opportunity that companies are now starting to take advantage of. And obviously, at the top, we're now moving to a world where we can listen to almost everything. So the Internet of Things is something that is so exciting, and where it will take us, I'm sure none of us really know where that's eventually going to go, but the ability to listen to those machines and take advantage of actions there as well teaches us so much about both consumer behavior and product behavior and how we can take advantage of that. So it's obviously a very, very exciting time. So as we're talking about that, there are a few things that we need to look at. There are basically three big V's in big data, which is really affecting all data. There is the variety of data, which is obviously a big challenge. We're growing into unstructured data. We've got video clips. We've got all that sort of information. At the same time, we're dealing with massive volumes of data. So in 2 days nowadays, we capture the same amount of data as we did from the dawn of mankind up until 2003. So that's a pretty incredible amount of data we capture every 2 days, just because a bunch of it is YouTube clips that you really don't want to watch, or a blog post about how someone went to sleep last night. It may not be that useful, but there's a lot of interesting information in there as well. Finally, overlaying on the challenge of that is this problem of velocity. We need to get access to this data super quickly now. So all of this information, they're dealing with the volume, the differentiation of the structure, and the velocity is a huge challenge, because people are trying to react not in batch processes now, but in real time. And the more we can react in real time, the more meaningful correspondence we can have with customers and understanding. So the Salesforce platform really offers a way for technology to help us move in that direction. There are a lot of other tools out there as well, but the beauty of Salesforce is it's built out an engine to help us understand customers, and at the same time building out a big data platform that is giving us the ability to look at things and customer behavior at a more granular level online and offline, and bring that all together. And the benefit of that is it's helping us get to a space where the whole enterprise can take advantage of this. So marketing's always been interested in taking advantage of this, but listening to that customer behavior, turning it into analytics around product behavior, and feeding that data back to service is something that the platform is driving us towards. And that's why things are so exciting now. You don't have to start with a data scientist in the background. There's a lot of ways you can start leveraging this data from once you've got the platform put in place. The problem is there are a bunch of common issues that you need to address, and we have clients coming to us, even once the platform is in place, having to deal with issues to make sure you can really take advantage of this information. So the first thing is making sure you've got effective process. And this is really taking an old school business rule and applying it to new technology. When you buy new technology, there's no use buying the next shiny thing and hoping it's going to do everything for you without having good, clear objectives around what you want to do with the tool, and also defining some good process around individual areas that you're working on. So the best example for that is lead scoring, where there are a lot of engines around now that will listen to customer behavior or prospects behavior as they're entering a website and they provide a name, and you're then listening to that activity that a customer's performing and forwarding it to a sales rep when that customer has achieved a sufficient amount of activity to say, hey, they're really interested, you want to get in touch with them. Unless you define a process with the sales team to align those two groups, you're really building a very sexy tool where the leads just fall into a bin and no one actually looks at them. So you need to be able to make sure that you're putting those processes in place, which is really a bit of the boring stuff around the sizzle of the technology. Similar for that with metrics, there's a lot of great analytics tools with Wave and the way you can build that. But really, metrics are also very important to have some rigor and make sure you're measuring the right things and deciding what you're going to measure and how successful your company is being, and spend time looking at that, as well as the insightful analytics that you look at in the background. And having the rigor to define those metrics and the way they can drive your business can really transform your business because everyone is aligning in the same direction. The detailed analytics to come up with the predictive behaviors and the learnings is something else that you should do, but you should do that as a separate step. Finally, the other very common thing that we come up against is trying to build a single view of the customer. And this is really the enabler that takes all the data we're listening to and turns it into super powerful action for a company. So once we have a single view of the customer, we all know we can do just about anything in terms of building out good behavioral information about the customer. But there are so many things to think about there, because every customer that we work with, nearly everyone, has multiple systems with multiple data elements in there for customers and different customer behavior. To combine that, think about that early on. Think about how you can turn anonymous customers into known in your various tools in an effective way. Think about how you can pass common customer identifiers between systems, because once you have that single view, you can really start to leverage the power of big data and all the data that you're able to capture and leverage in the platform. And finally, the last thing I'd leave you with is don't get constrained by the feeling that this is a massive opportunity but also massively complex to implement. Build some small objectives, put something in place, and start and iterate. And that goal of iterating is so critical to build more of an agile approach to how you're building this. Try some things out, iterate, and improve. And in that way, you'll build a much better product, because you really don't know what you don't know until you start leveraging this data. But it is a world of opportunity and a huge competitive advantage for people.